sure I have the right side of the mic. We talked a little bit about Twilight. Twilight, the series by Stephenie Meyer, right? And I think Twilight's really funny. I'm not like a huge Twilight fan, personally. Like, I mean, I'm not into it as the extent as, like, people were into it. But I do think that it is ridiculously funny. I think that it is comical. I think that it is hilarious. And the fact that it was so culturally large as it was is really, really funny to me. So, today, we are going to talk about New Moon. And I know I said in the last one that I wouldn't torture you with more Twilight if the other video didn't do very well. And it didn't do great, but it's my channel. And we're going to talk about Twilight more because I think it's funny and I love it. So, New Moon. New Moon. We're keeping up with the moon theme. So we've got Twilight, New Moon. Twilight is the sun going down, right? New Moon. No moon in the sky. Then we're gonna have eclipse and then breaking dawn. The sun's coming back up, so we seeing the connection. Good. So in New Moon, I've got to be honest, this is my least favorite out of the entire saga. And it's not because I don't like Jacob. Well, it is kind of because I don't like Jacob. It's more because I was just kind of bored the whole time. But it is entertaining, so we're gonna talk about it. So to begin, we're leaving off where Twilight left off. So Bella has just been seriously injured by James the Tracker, right? And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, go watch my Twilight video and then come back here because you're gonna be a lot more caught up. And it's also just really fun. So Bella, our main character, Bella has just been seriously injured by James the Tracker, right? And she's been recovering in the hospital and everything, and now she's back home in Forks with Eddie Boy, Edward. Anyways, so Edward is there. I need some water. I'm trying to think, because I actually like... Alright, Edward, they're there. They're having a good time. And Edward's feeling real guilty. He's like, oh gosh, diddly darn it, it is my fault that Bella just got chomped on by James. And you know, he is kind of right. It is kind of his fault that Bella just got chomped on by James. But Bella is like, no, Edward, don't say that about me. I love you. Like, I could get chomped on by James as many times as possible and it wouldn't matter. I love you. And Edward is like, yeah, alright, cool. But, they're trying to live life normally. Wait, I need to get this. Yeah, they're trying to live life normally. Okay, I think I have this right. So everything is going okay. They're living there, but Eddie's like, he's a little reserved. He's not acting normal, and Bella's a little confused. She's like, what is up, Eddie? Why are we acting a little funky? And then he's just worried that he's gonna get her hurt. So she comes over for dinner one day, and everybody's there. Well, not for dinner, because they don't eat, which is funny. It's a birthday party. It's Bella's birthday party, that's what it is. It's coming back to me now. It's Bella's birthday party. She's turning 18, I want to say. And the whole vampire family is there, and Bella is there, and as she's opening up her presents, she gets a paper cut. Now, I know we all hate paper cuts, but it's especially bad here because she is surrounded by vampires. So immediately, Jasper freaks out because Jasper is like new to this whole vegetarian thing, and he's still like craving human blood. So, oh, look, a little guy up there. Anyways, so he freaks out and he goes after Bella, right? Which is not ideal because that's his brother's girlfriend, and that's not really cool. That's not really what we want to happen. So he tries to attack Bella. Of course, Edward stops him before anything seriously bad happens, but this is a real wake-up call for Edward. He's like, I'm putting Bella in danger just by being here. Like, her being around my kind is dangerous for all involved, and I can't keep doing this to her. So Edward goes, this is it. We gotta get out of here. I can't do this anymore. And he takes Bella out to the woods because that's a good place to break this news, I guess. And he's like, we're moving. We gotta go. Like, we can't stay here anymore. It's not working. People are gonna start questioning why me and my family aren't aging. Like, we can be in one place for a little bit, but eventually we have to move, right? And Bella's like, okay, sick, cool. I'll come with you. And Edward position on the floor of the forest, bawling her eyes out, catatonic. And she's gonna stay catatonic for the next, like, 6 months. 6 months. Rosalind, by whatever group did Rosalind, is playing in the background. You're crying your heart out as Bella sits there in a little chair and the seasons change and she doesn't move, she doesn't change because she is catatonic. Because Edward left. If you are ever that connected to a boy, that is a red flag. Your independence matters. Anywho, so she's catatonic. It's not good. And eventually Jacob starts coming around. And Jacob is like, this isn't good. We need to make Bella happy. So they start hanging out. We get Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca? Which is culturally so significant. Like, it may rival the JFK assassination, how significant it was. That's a joke. Well, it's a joke. Anyways, if any of you are JFK stans, I'm sorry. Are there JFK stans? Is that a thing? Or did I just... I'm sure there were at some point. Anywho, I might be recording this on the anniversary of JFK's assassination. That's really funny. Well, not for him. But back to New Moon. So, Bella's hanging out with Jacob, and Jacob starts acting all weird, and he kind of starts, like, keeping to himself a lot. And she's like, this is crazy, because now Jacob is her best friend, because she's been left, and she's grasping on to the one human being who's, like, showing her compassion and emotion, and that's Jacob. And then Jacob starts, like, pulling back, and she's really confused. But Jacob just, like, I don't know, it's just not going great. So Bella's all sad. Her buddy's not really talking to her. She doesn't really know what to do about it. But then she finds out. Wait, no, does she find out yet? Maybe it's not in this book. You know what? I'm just gonna tell you in case you don't know. Jacob's a werewolf. I don't actually know if that happens in this book or not, but Bella learns that if she puts herself in danger, she sees hallucinations of Edward. If you didn't notice, I really don't care about Jacob. I was an Edward girl, and I'll explain that more as this series goes on. But Jacob turns into a werewolf. I don't know if it's in Now or in Eclipse. No, it's definitely in this one, because, yeah, it's in this one. But, she knows that if she puts herself in danger, then she sees a hallucination of Edward. Like, girl, stop. So she starts putting herself in danger, and one of the things she does is, like, they reconstruct a motorcycle, and she, like, crashes the motorcycle so she can see her hallucination of Edward being like, don't crash the motorcycle, you're putting yourself in danger. And what am I from Michigan? And anyways, it's basically like Edward just disappeared from her life. Like, everything that she had to remember Edward is pretty much gone, and she's really stressing from this. She's not in a good place mentally, and she's hanging out with Jacob, and she starts to kind of get better because she's with Jacob a lot, and Jacob is a really good friend to her. They're always hanging out, and then really this whole book is just Jacob and Bella hanging out and learning about. So when Jacob turns into a wolf, the becoming a wolf is triggered by being around vampires. So other people in, like, that area have turned into werewolves too. So they've got a little pack going on, and they're like always like, oh, it's a wolf thing. That's a big thing too. But Jacob has his pack, so a lot of it is Bella hanging out with Jacob and his pack, and, like, the pack leader and stuff and everything, and Jacob learning how to be a werewolf, which apparently is a lot more complicated than you would think it is. And they've got, like, this whole thing with imprinting and stuff. That was wonderful timing. Anyway, imprinting and stuff. And it's really interesting. So we're just, like, learning all the werewolf lore for a lot of this book. It's werewolf lore time, and just Bella hanging out with the pack and stuff like that. So Bella's actually really happy. She's doing a lot better, but she's still, like, really So she jumps off the highest cliff she can find into the ocean. But guess what? Bella doesn't know how to cliff jump, and she falls into this really, really cold water where the current is really, really strong. And basically, she's just gonna she's not gonna make it if someone doesn't come get her. And I think Sam sees it, and Sam jumps in. Sam is one of the pack mates. I don't know their names. Boo Boo Stewart's in or Bobo. Anyways, Stewart is in the movie as one of the pack mates, which is pretty cool. But Sam jumps in and saves Bella because she needed to be saved. And everyone was like, Bella, what the heck were you doing? Like, you cannot be throwing yourself off cliffs, buddy. That's not cool. And she's like, I wasn't trying to kill myself. Like, I swear I wasn't trying to do it. I was trying to see Edward. I was trying to see hallucination, Edward. I also probably should not have said that K word. That might be bad. But anyways, they're all like, you are actually delusional. This is a big problem. And she's like, yeah, I know, but I wanted to see Edward. And then she gets home. Guess who's at her house? Alice. Alice Cullen. As in one of the Cullens who left with Edward. And she's all like, Alice, oh my gosh, because they've just all disappeared. And this is the first time she's seen a Cullen since Edward left. And this is really comforting for her. But Alice is all weirded out. She's like, I came here to comfort Charlie. And she's like, comfort Charlie? Why would you need to comfort Charlie? Because Alice can see the future, right? And she sees Bella jumping off the cliff, and she just assumes that she bit it. So she freaks out, and of course Edward sees Alice's vision because he can read minds, and he freaks out because now he thinks that Bella is kaput. And obviously that makes him sad. So Alice comes back to comfort Charlie and be there for him because Alice and Charlie are always pretty close. Like, Alice is Charlie's favorite. Even when Charlie doesn't like Edward, Charlie likes Alice, and Alice likes Charlie. So that's good. And Bella is so excited to see Alice. Like, this, she's seeing the Cullens again. It's like really big for her, and they hug, and it's a lot. But she's really confused. And then at some point, when they're not there, or maybe they are there, but they're just in another room, the house gets a call, and Jacob is there, and Jacob picks up the phone. And recently, one of Charlie's friends had passed away. So he picks up the phone. Charlie is out making arrangements for the funeral for the friend. And Edward is like, I need to talk to someone. Where's Bella? Where's Charlie? Or I need to talk to Charlie. And I have to put the phone up to my ear. And Jacob is like, Charlie can't talk. He's making arrangements for the funeral. And he hangs up because he doesn't like Edward, right? And now Edward is assuming that that funeral that the arrangements are being made for is Bella's funeral because he saw her jump off the cliff, and he's freaking out. So now we're getting into more like general vampire lore. There's this group called the Volturi, okay, and they live in Italy, and they're like vampire royalty, and they make all the rules and stuff. And Charlie had lived with them for a while, but basically it's their job to keep all of vampire kind in check. So like when people go rogue or something, it's their job to fix it. And they really, really, really want Edward to join them because Edward has a really good skill, right? Like, he can read minds. So they want Edward alive. And Edward's like, well, I can't off myself because it doesn't work that way. And none of my friends stops him, and he thinks that he's having some sort of illusion that the Volturi already got him. But Bella's like, no, it's me. I'm here. Come on, buddy. But then since he was being kind of goofy, he still has to go talk to the Volturi and basically be like, I'm sorry, can I leave your city now? Because I goofed up real big. And he does, and he goes and sees the Volturi, and then Bella sees them, like, part of the Volturi leading tourists in to, like, tour the castle, but actually they're the tourists, and drink their blood. And this kind of scars Bella, because obviously she knows what vampires do, but she's only been around vampires that drink animal blood. So this freaks her out a little bit. But they talk to the Volturi, and they're like, okay, you guys can go, but this human knows our secrets now, and that's bad. And Edward's like, well, it's fine, like, I'm gonna turn her eventually anyway. And he is lying out of his face, because he wasn't planning on turning Bella. Like, he doesn't want that life for her. He thinks he's soulless and irredeemable, and he doesn't want to do that to Bella. But the Volturi are like, okay, fine, but we're gonna come check soon. We're gonna come check and make sure that she's actually turned into a vampire. And if she's not, well, we're gonna have to, and they agree to that, and they go sit outside and wait to be allowed to leave, and then they get on a plane and they go home, and obviously Charlie is not happy to see Edward, because let's count the Edward offenses in Charlie's book from Charlie's point of view. He starts dating Bella without, like, I don't know, he doesn't really know the Cullens. He takes Bella with him out of town all of a sudden, and then gets her in the hospital. Like, she winds up in the hospital. He leaves Bella catatonic for 6 months, for Charlie to have to watch his daughter be catatonic for 6 months. And then Bella has to run off to go get him, and he shows back up with an exhausted Bella in his arms because she wouldn't sleep on the plane ride back, because she's trying to drink in as much of Edward as she can, because she's still convinced that he's gonna leave. Like, Charlie is so right for all of that. He should be against Edward, because that is so bad. That is so bad on Edward's side. And I'm still pro Edward over Jacob. But Bella was really onto something when she was like, I'm Team Switzerland. But also, I understand Bella wanting to be loved. Like, that's fair. I get it, Bella. You deserve that. You deserve to be loved. So, yeah, that pretty much brings us to the end of New Moon. Bella's in big trouble. She is pretty much grounded for a long time because she just ran off to Italy with Alice, but Alice is kind of like, oh, it's fine, I took her. And Charlie's like, oh, Alice, you're right, it is fine, you took her, because he loves Alice. And I think that's kind of the end of New Moon. So it's a good book. A lot of it, though, is just Bella Jacob time, which is fine, but it does get a little boring after a while. So I hope you enjoyed it. I know no one asked for this, but you got it anyway, and you're gonna be thankful. But yeah, I'll see you on the next one. I hope you're having an awesome holiday season.